Hi all, Ms. Z here, and today we have a lesson on reflections across y equals x and y equals negative x. So you have to think back and remember what those lines actually look like. Like, what is y equals x and y equals negative x? So, of course, we have our standard and our essential statement, and that states I can reflect a figure across y equals x and y equals negative x. So let's review what a reflection is. So a reflection is a transformation that flips a figure across the line of reflection. So it becomes a mirror image. Okay, and then we have our rules, or the algebraic representation of what we are doing. So when we are reflecting across y equals x, you look to see what actually happens to our ordered pair. So our ordered pair x comma y goes to y comma x. So you actually take your ordered pair and you flip the y and the x. And when you're reflecting across y equals negative x, you not only flip your ordered pair, but you also change the sign on that number. So this right here does not mean make your number negative. This means make the sign opposite. Okay, so let's go ahead and do an example. So go ahead and draw that down. And I'm actually going to write a little note right here that this means make sign opposite. Oops, opposite, not negative. Okay, so that's what that means, and this one too, okay? All right, so here we have triangle LMN. I'm gonna go ahead and lift that up. So L is negative 2 comma 1, M is negative 1 comma 3, and N is negative 3 comma 3. Go ahead and draw out your coordinate plane. Make it as precise as you can. Remember, that is super important when you're doing transformations. And plot your points and connect the dots to form your triangle LMN. Our question asks us, reflect triangle LMN across y equals x. So what even is y equals x? Well, if we were to draw that line down, you start at your origin, because the y-intercept is 0, and our slope is the number in front of x, in this case 1. So you go up 1 over 1 and connect those two dots, and we have our line of reflection. I'm gonna make it dotted so you guys can see what's going on. That right there is line y equals x. That is also our line of reflection in this problem. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to use our rule, okay? If we're reflecting across y equals x, our rule right up here states that you take your ordered pair x comma y and you flip the numbers. So our L prime would be 1 comma negative 2. Our M prime would be 3 comma negative 1. And our N prime would be 3 comma negative 3. Notice how I left the numbers just as they are. I just flipped the numbers. I didn't change any sign on anything. And then I'm going to go ahead and plot those points. So 1, -2 is right here. This is L prime. 3, -1 is right here. This is M prime. And 3, -3 is right here. This is N prime. I'm going to go ahead and connect the dots. Okay, and there I have my reflected image. If I were to fold my paper across my line of reflection, I would have a mirror image of the figure that I drew, triangle LMN. Okay, well, what if right now we have a different problem? Let's say that this is our new problem. It's asking us to reflect triangle PQR across y equals -x. So what even is a y equals -x? Well, it's also a line, but in this case, if we start at the origin, which is right over here, our slope is now -1. So you go down 1 and over 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and make this a dotted line. So what do I recommend for you guys? I recommend when you're reflecting across these two lines, I recommend that you actually draw out your line of reflection so that you can see what you're reflecting across. And then I'm going to go ahead, well, actually, let's draw out PQR triangle. So P is -4, 0, Q is -2, 1, and R is -1, -4. That's my triangle. Now I want to reflect this across y equals -x. So I look at my rule. So let me look at my rule. That states that what I have to do is not only flip my ordered pair, but I have to change the sign on both of the numbers. So point P prime, so let's change our number. So let's change our numbers. So it'd be 0, -4, but I have to change the sign. 0 just stays 0, and -4 becomes +4. Or you just can erase the sign. Okay, Q prime, you have 1, -2, that's me flipping the numbers, but then we have to change the signs. So the 1 becomes a negative and the 2 becomes a +2. Obviously, you don't have to put the +2, you can just erase the sign. And then R prime is -4, -1, but then I change the sign. Notice, not only do I flip the numbers, but I change the sign on everything. So then I'm going to go ahead and plot my points. So 0, 4 is up here. This is P prime. -1, 2 right here. This is Q prime. And 4, 1, this is R prime. Again, take a look at that. That is a reflection across our that dotted line, y equals -x. Now, if your units, when you drew the coordinate plane, weren't precise, your figure will be a little bit skewed, but that's okay. That's why I tell you to draw it as precisely as you can. All right, and also notice, you can't just count the units from the line of reflection. That only works for when you're reflecting across the x-axis and the y-axis. Please use the rule when you're reflecting across y equals x and y equals -x. If you have any questions about this, feel free to contact me and I will answer them as best as I can. Thank you.